Last week we gave you tips on how to winterize your lawnmower, and today I'd like to give you some tips on how to extend the life of some of your tools that you use every day in the garden. Probably one of the biggest problems that we have is some of the gummy sap that builds up on our pruning materials. And we've got hand pruners and loppers and saws and all the different pruning equipment that really need to be cleaned up this time of year, but really you should try to clean them up after each pruning session and try to sterilize them. And one of the best things to use to try to clean that sticky sap up is products such as a rubbing alcohol or a fingernail polish remover. And what I've got is just a Q-tip or a cotton ball or even a rag, and just try to rub as hard as you can to try to loosen up some of that sticky sap. And some of it that's really caked on there, you may need to get your wire brush again and try to scrape some of that off the best that you can. And as you can see, a lot of that will come off and pretty easily with those two products. Now after you use it, you may want to sterilize it again with the rubbing alcohol just to make sure it's nice and clean. And of course, after several years of use, we may get a little bit of rust or some problems like that, and we need to use a lubricant to try to clean those up. And there's several things that you can use again. Just any kind of a lubricant over the counter. You can use some oil that you would use in your lawnmower, or products that you would use to try to clean up any kind of problem like a chainsaw where you need to lubricate it. But we've just used a detergent bottle here, and we've put a little bit of oil on there, and then we'll take our rag and try to clean that up. And the detergent bottle really makes it nice to apply the lubricant. It's also nice to use to try to fill up the oil in your lawnmower, again like I said with the chainsaw, to lubricate the chain. It's really a nice idea to do. Make sure though that you take the label off and you mark it that it's oil, and we try not to encourage people to store pesticides in alternative containers. But in this case, the oil is okay to do as long as you mark it and keep it out of the reach of children, but it really is a handy way to try to use to lubricate. And as we've talked about before, just a non-sticking cooking spray or anything like that is also great to use. And we've got some loppers here that are really need a little bit of lubricating, and so the sticking non-stick cooking spray will be real good for that. As well as when we get this shovel cleaned up, it'd be a great idea before we use it next time to put some of this non-stick cooking spray on, because it makes it really easy to clean up afterwards. The dirt just washes off, plus it will help keep that shovel from rusting on us. So again, remember to use some of these lubricants that are pretty easy, and usually you'll have some of those in your home as well. Now some other things that we can do this time of year is try to recycle some of the things we're throwing away. And we've got a bow saw here, and we've just taken an old water hose that we have damaged probably from running over with a lawnmower or something. We've cut off a piece that fits on the blade and just split that down the center on one side, and then just snapped it right over that. Not only will that help protect you from stabbing yourself or cutting yourself as a safety protector, but when you lubricate that blade, it will help keep the lubricant in there a little bit longer and help protect that blade and extend the life of our saw. Another nice little thing to do is anytime you have a liquid detergent, instead of throwing away the caps, save these, and then when you're measuring out your pesticides, a lot of times when we're measuring out teaspoons or tablespoons, it's real easy to spill. If you'll measure ahead of time with your teaspoon or tablespoon with just water, the amount that you need on here, when you shine it in light, you can see it and mark, and I've marked 3 tablespoons here. Then when I'm ready to measure my herbicide or pesticide, I just pour it to that level, then pour it in my spray tank, and then after I've got it measured properly, then I can rinse this out with water and pour it in the tank as I fill it up. So that's really a nice way to keep from having spills when you're measuring pesticides. And the other thing I want to show you, A lot of times we've got lawn chairs with old strapping that's torn up and we have to replace that. Keep that old strapping and use it as a support or a brace for planting new trees. And what you would do is just on your new tree, wrap the trunk of the tree with some kind of a tree wrap, and that way you'll keep from scraping the trunk or the bark, because this strapping can be abrasive and cut into the bark of the tree. After you put the tree wrap on, you'll just wrap it around a couple of times on the trunk of the tree and then attach it to your stakes, and it's pliable enough that the tree can still move, but strong enough to keep it from blowing over. So that's really a nice thing to try to save as well. And hopefully these tips will help you extend the life of your tools, because if you know, like we do, the tools really are our best friend in the garden, and we want to try to keep from buying new ones as often as we can.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.